Welcome back to U.S. Rare Coins News. That little quarter sitting in your collection could be more interesting than it looks. State quarters became a huge part of American coin collecting, with every design telling a different story from one of the 50 states. But here's the exciting part: certain dates, mint marks, varieties, and errors can make some examples much more desirable to collectors. So before you spend your next quarter, take a close look at it. Let's find out what makes these coins truly special. Top 1. Imagine finding a quarter that looks completely ordinary at first glance, but after you turn it over and inspect the smallest details, you discover that you may be holding one of the most interesting coins from the beginning of the state quarters era. Today, we are taking a close look at the 1999 Connecticut state quarter, specifically the Philadelphia minted 1999 P example. Before you even think about spending one, pay attention to the date, the mint mark, the condition, and especially anything unusual about the strike. This is exactly the kind of coin that can make collectors stop, look twice, and start asking one important question: could this particular quarter be worth far more than its 25-cent face value? Let's begin with the basic specifications so you know exactly what coin we are talking about. The 1999 Connecticut state quarter has a standard weight of 5.67 grams, a diameter of approximately 24.26 millimeters, and a thickness of about 1.75 millimeters. It has the standard copper-nickel-clad composition used for circulating quarters of this era, consisting of copper and nickel layers surrounding a copper core. On the edge, you will find the familiar reeded pattern found on U.S. quarters. These measurements are useful when examining a suspicious coin because an authentic coin should generally fall within the expected specifications, although small variations can occur because of normal manufacturing tolerances. Now take a close look at the mint mark. The coin featured in this video carries a small letter P, which means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. That tiny P can be easy to overlook, especially on a worn coin, but it is an important part of identifying the exact issue. When you are searching through a large collection of state quarters, don't just look at the date. Check the mint mark too. A 1999 Connecticut quarter without a mint mark and a 1999 P Connecticut quarter can represent different varieties or production issues, so identification starts with paying attention to those small details. The Connecticut quarter is historically important because it was part of the very first year of the United States 50 state quarters program. That program became one of the most successful modern U.S. coin collecting series, introducing millions of people to collecting by placing a different state design on the reverse of the quarter. Connecticut was represented near the end of the first year's sequence, and its design was released in 1999. That means this little quarter is not simply a piece of pocket change. It is also part of the beginning of a major chapter in modern American numismatic history. And now look at the reverse design, because this is where Connecticut's history comes alive. The coin features the famous charter oak, one of the most recognizable symbols associated with Connecticut. The tree became famous because of the story surrounding Connecticut's colonial charter and the efforts to protect it. According to the traditional account, the charter was hidden in the charter oak in 1687 to prevent it from being taken by representatives of King James II. Whether you are a serious collector or simply someone who enjoys American history, that story gives this quarter a fascinating connection to the country's past. The charter oak eventually became such an important symbol that it was selected for Connecticut's state quarter design. Around the image are the inscriptions Connecticut, 1788, the charter OAK, and United States of America, along with the denomination quarter dollar. The year 1788 is significant because Connecticut ratified the United States Constitution in that year and became the fifth state to do so. So when you hold this coin, you are actually looking at several layers of American history represented on a tiny piece of metal. Flip the coin over to the obverse and you will see the familiar portrait of George Washington. You will also see Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the date 1999. The Philadelphia P mint mark is positioned near the date area. Because the coin is now more than 2 decades old, many examples have spent years circulating through shops, vending machines, cash registers, coin jars, and collections. That means condition can vary dramatically. One quarter might be heavily worn, while another could have sharp details and excellent surfaces because it was saved shortly after being released. This is where collectors need to understand one of the most important rules of coin collecting: age alone does not automatically make a coin rare or valuable. A 1999 quarter is not automatically worth a fortune simply because it is over 20 years old. Millions of state quarters were produced, and ordinary circulated examples are generally common. What makes an individual coin interesting can be its condition, scarcity, variety, or a genuine minting error. That's why you should never judge the value of your coin just by looking at its date. So what should you actually search for? Start by examining the coin under good lighting. Look carefully at the date, the P mint mark, Washington's portrait, the lettering, and the charter oak design. Look for unusual doubling, abnormal lettering, missing design elements, unusual shapes, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or other characteristics that appear to have happened during the minting process rather than after the coin entered circulation. Be careful, though, because scratches, dents, discoloration, stains, or damage caused by machines and other objects are not necessarily mint errors. The condition of the coin is also extremely important. A quarter that has been circulating for years can develop scratches, contact marks, dull surfaces, and worn details. On the other hand, a coin that was protected soon after production may preserve much sharper details. Professional grading companies examine factors such as strike quality, surface preservation, luster, and overall condition when assigning grades. For collectors, a very high-grade certified coin can be considerably more desirable than an ordinary circulated example. Another thing to remember is that cleaning a coin can actually hurt its collector appeal. If you discover a potentially valuable quarter, don't polish it, don't scrub it, and don't use household chemicals to make it shine. Natural original surfaces are generally much more desirable to collectors than a coin that has been harshly cleaned. Sometimes what looks like dirt can actually be part of the coin's original surface or simply normal toning, so it's better to leave the coin alone and have it evaluated if you believe you have something unusual. Now here's something exciting about searching your own collection. You don't necessarily need an expensive metal detector or a huge collection to find interesting state quarters. Start with the coins you already have. Check old coin jars, inherited collections, rolls of quarters, and coins that have been sitting untouched for years. Separate the Connecticut quarters and compare them side by side. Check their dates, mint marks, condition, and designs. You may discover that one example is significantly sharper or more unusual than another. The 1999 Connecticut quarter also has a special appeal because it belongs to the first generation of state quarters. Collectors often enjoy assembling complete sets, including examples from different mints and different conditions. Some collectors search for uncirculated pieces, while others focus on varieties and errors. Others simply want one example of every state because of the historical designs. That makes the Connecticut quarter interesting even when an individual example isn't rare. And there is another reason collectors should pay attention to these coins. The state quarters program brought coin collecting into millions of American homes. Children, families, casual collectors, and experienced numismatists all began searching their change for different states. For many people, a quarter like this was the first coin they ever intentionally saved. That historical importance gives the series a special place in modern American collecting. If you have a 1999 Connecticut quarter, take a few moments before spending it. Check whether it has the P mint mark. Check the weight if you have a precise digital scale. Look at the edge. Examine the design closely. Compare the coin with reliable references. If something looks genuinely unusual, don't immediately assume it is valuable, but don't throw it away either. Photograph it clearly and consider getting a professional opinion from an experienced coin dealer or grading service. And remember, there is a huge difference between a normal example and an exceptional example. A common circulated Connecticut quarter may only be worth its face value, while a rare error, unusual variety, or exceptionally preserved certified specimen can attract much more attention from collectors. That's why responsible coin collecting is about identification first and valuation second. You want to know exactly what you have before deciding what it might be worth. Now I want to hear from you. Do you have a 1999 Connecticut state quarter in your collection? Does yours have the P mint mark? Is it circulated, uncirculated, or in what appears to be excellent condition? Have you noticed anything unusual on the charter oak, the lettering, the date, or the mint mark? Give me a reply in the comments and tell me exactly what you found. You never know, your coin might have a feature that other collectors would love to discuss. And if you enjoy videos about rare U.S. coins, valuable quarters, mint errors, state quarters, old coins, and hidden treasures that could be sitting unnoticed in collections across America, make sure you subscribe to U.S. Rare Coins News. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next coin discovery, because sometimes the most interesting coin isn't the one that looks old, it is the one that looks ordinary until you know exactly what to look for. Finally, let's talk about the eye-catching value figure associated with today's featured coin. Remember, a headline value should never be treated as the guaranteed price of every 1999 P Connecticut quarter. Ordinary examples can be common, and the actual market value of a specific coin depends on its authentication, condition, grade, rarity, and whether it has a genuine mint error or another exceptional characteristic. But the featured price for this video is $170,000. So before you spend your next quarter, turn it over and take a second look. Check the year, check the P mint mark, examine the charter oak, inspect the surfaces, and look for anything genuinely unusual. That tiny piece of metal could be an ordinary 25-cent coin, or it could be a fascinating discovery that deserves a much closer look. If you have one of these Connecticut quarters, tell me about it in the comments, subscribe to U.S. Rare Coins News, and keep searching, because you never know what might be hiding in your next handful of change. Top 2, a small quarter can be easy to ignore. You might receive one in your change, drop it into a jar, or leave it sitting in an old collection for years without ever giving it a second look. But the 2000 Virginia state quarter is one of those coins that deserves a closer examination because it combines American history, the famous 50 state quarters program, and the possibility of unusual varieties or mint errors that can make certain individual coins much more interesting to collectors. So if you have a Virginia quarter dated 2000, especially one carrying the D mint mark, do not rush to spend it before you have checked every important detail. In this video, we are going deep into the coin's specifications, design, history, mint mark, composition, condition, possible errors, collecting interest, and the extraordinary price figure that has attracted attention from coin collectors. Let us start with the basic specifications so you know exactly what you are looking at. The 2000 Virginia state quarter has a standard weight of 5.67 grams. Its diameter is approximately 24.26 millimeters, and its thickness is approximately 1.75 millimeters. The coin is made from copper-nickel clad material, with a copper core inside the outer clad layers, and it has a reeded edge. Its face value is 25 cents, or $0.25. The D mint mark is one of the most important identifying details because it indicates that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint. When checking your own coin, make sure the date and mint mark match before comparing it with other Virginia quarters. Now let us turn our attention to the design, because this is where this coin becomes much more than an ordinary piece of pocket change. The reverse of the Virginia state quarter features 3 historic ships, the Susan Constant, the Godspeed, and the Discovery. These ships are connected to the English settlement at Jamestown in 1607, making the design a direct reference to one of the most important events in early American history. The ships are shown sailing across the water, creating a detailed and instantly recognizable reverse design. Around the image, you can find the inscriptions Virginia, Jamestown, 1788, and 2000. This combination of history and design is what makes the Virginia quarter particularly memorable among the state quarters. The year 1788 on the coin has a special meaning. It represents the year Virginia became the 10th state to join the United States. The 2000 date, on the other hand, identifies the year the Virginia state quarter was issued. So when you hold this coin, you are looking at a design that connects 2 different periods of American history, Virginia's admission to the Union in the 18th century and the massive modern collecting movement that began with the state quarters program at the end of the 20th century. Now flip the coin over to the obverse, and you will see the familiar portrait of George Washington. Around Washington's portrait are the inscriptions United States of America, Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust, and quarter dollar. The obverse design is familiar to millions of Americans, but when you combine it with the Virginia reverse, the coin becomes part of a fascinating historical series. This was not simply another quarter entering circulation. It was one of the specially designed state quarters that encouraged people across the country to search their everyday change and collect all 50 states. The 50-state quarters program created an enormous wave of interest in coin collecting. People who had never collected coins before started saving quarters. Parents purchased albums for their children, collectors searched rolls from banks, and families began looking for states they had not yet found. Instead of seeing a quarter as just 25 cents, millions of people began seeing it as a miniature piece of American history. The Virginia quarter became one of those pieces, representing a state with an extremely important role in the early development of the United States. But now we reach the question that almost every collector wants answered: can a 2000 Virginia quarter actually be worth big money? The answer requires some caution. A normal circulated 2000 Virginia quarter is not automatically a rare or extremely valuable coin. Large numbers were produced, and most ordinary examples are still collectible primarily because of their place in the state quarter series. However, individual coins can become much more interesting when they show a genuine mint error, recognized variety, unusual striking characteristic, or exceptionally high grade. That distinction is extremely important because the date and mint mark alone do not guarantee a huge value. When examining your quarter, start with the obverse. Look carefully at the date 2000. Then locate the small d mint mark near the lower right area of Washington's portrait. Check whether the lettering appears normal. Examine the rim and the overall shape of the coin. After that, turn the quarter over and inspect the Virginia design. Look carefully at all three ships, their sails, the water, the lettering, and the dates. You are looking for something that is genuinely different from a normal example, not simply a scratch or dent. Lighting is very important during this process. A coin that looks ordinary under a dim room light can reveal interesting details under bright, even lighting. You can gently tilt the coin from side to side and examine how the surfaces reflect light. A magnifying glass can also help you study small areas. However, do not confuse every unusual line or mark with an error. Coins can receive scratches, dents, stains, and other damage during circulation and storage. Those post-mint problems are different from genuine manufacturing errors. One of the most important lessons for anyone searching state quarters is to understand the difference between an error and damage. Suppose you find a small scratch running across the ship design. That does not necessarily mean the mint created it. The coin may have been damaged after leaving the mint. Likewise, a dent on the rim, discoloration, or a deep scrape may have happened during circulation. A genuine mint error must have a connection to the coin production process. That is why professional authentication and comparison with known examples can be so important when a coin appears unusual. Another factor that can influence collector interest is condition. Imagine finding two 2000 Virginia quarters. One has been circulating for years, with worn surfaces and numerous marks. The other has sharp details, strong lettering, and very little evidence of circulation. Even though both coins have exactly the same date and mint mark, collectors may view them very differently. Condition is one of the major factors considered when coins are graded, and exceptionally preserved examples can be far more desirable than heavily circulated coins. If you believe your coin is in excellent condition, please remember one very important rule: do not clean it. It can be tempting to polish a quarter that looks dirty or dull, but cleaning can leave scratches or alter the original surface. Professional collectors generally prefer coins that retain their natural surfaces. If you discover a potentially important coin, handle it carefully by the edges and store it somewhere safe until you know more about it. The D mint mark also deserves attention. but there is a common misunderstanding that needs to be cleared up. A D mint mark does not automatically mean a coin is rare. It simply tells you that the coin was struck at Denver. There are many common D mint coins and many common Philadelphia coins as well. The value of a coin depends on the complete story, date, mint mark, mintage, condition, variety, error status, authentication, and collector demand. Experienced collectors therefore never judge a coin simply by seeing a particular mint mark. The Virginia quarter also has tremendous historical appeal. Jamestown was established in 1607 and became one of the most significant early English settlements in North America. The 3 ships represented on the quarter are directly connected with that voyage. By putting these ships on a coin that circulated throughout the United States, the mint created a small piece of history that could literally travel from one state to another in people's pockets. That is one of the things that makes coin collecting so fascinating. The object may be tiny, but the story behind it can be enormous. Think about how many hands a circulated quarter can pass through. It could move from a store to a bank, from a bank to another customer, and eventually into someone's collection. It might spend years inside a coin jar before someone discovers it. The 2000 Virginia quarter has had plenty of opportunities to travel since it was released. And because the state quarters program encouraged people to collect these coins, many examples were saved rather than spent. That means condition and preservation become particularly important when comparing different specimens. Now, let's talk about the extraordinary price figure mentioned in connection with this video. The headline figure is $178,000. That is an extremely high amount and should not be interpreted as the guaranteed value of every 2000 Virginia quarter. Extraordinary prices generally relate to exceptional circumstances, such as a major confirmed error, an unusual variety, outstanding condition, authentication, or a specific documented transaction. If you have a normal circulated Virginia quarter from 2000 with a D mint mark, you should not assume that it is automatically worth $178,000. This distinction is incredibly important for collectors because online coin content can sometimes make every old-looking coin appear valuable. A responsible collector needs to separate an exciting headline from the actual characteristics of the coin in front of them. Before believing an extraordinary price claim, examine the coin carefully, compare it with reliable references, and, if necessary, seek an opinion from a qualified numismatic professional. A real collector learns to investigate rather than simply believe a price displayed on a screen. So, what should you do if you think your 2000 Virginia quarter has something unusual? First, do not clean it. Second, take clear photographs of both sides. Third, photograph the unusual area from several angles. Fourth, compare the coin with a normal 2000 Virginia quarter. Fifth, research the characteristic carefully and consider professional authentication if the potential value appears significant. These simple steps can help prevent you from accidentally damaging a potentially important coin or confusing ordinary damage with a genuine mint error. You should also pay attention to the coin's overall strike. Some coins can show areas where details are weaker than expected because of the striking process. However, weak details do not automatically mean the coin is rare. The important question is whether the characteristic is consistent with a known minting issue and whether it can be confirmed. This is why serious coin collecting involves much more than simply searching for shiny coins. It involves learning how coins were manufactured and understanding why different characteristics appear. Another reason collectors enjoy state quarters is that the series is easy to understand. You do not need an enormous budget to begin. You can start by checking the coins already in your pocket, your coin jar, or an old family collection. You can learn the dates, mint marks, designs, and major varieties one at a time. The 2000 Virginia quarter is an excellent example of how a common-looking coin can introduce you to American history, minting technology, grading, varieties, and the wider world of numismatics. And there is something else I want you to remember. Never throw away a coin just because it looks ordinary, but also never assume that every unusual coin is a fortune. The best approach is balance. Look carefully, learn the facts, compare your coin with verified examples, and investigate before making a decision. That approach will make you a much smarter collector and can help you avoid the most common mistakes. If you have a 2000 Virginia quarter right now, take it out of your collection and give it a careful inspection. Look at the date. Look at the D mint mark. Examine Washington's portrait. Then turn it over and study the 3 historic ships. Check the sails, the lettering, the dates, and the rim. Look for anything genuinely different from a normal example. You may discover nothing unusual, and that is completely fine. You are still holding an interesting piece of American history. But if you do find something that appears unusual, that is when the real investigation begins. Now I want to hear from you. Do you have a 2000 Virginia state quarter in your collection? Have you ever found one in pocket change, an old jar, a bank roll, or a family collection? Does your coin have any strange markings, unusual doubling, missing details, or other characteristics? Give me a reply in the comments and tell me what you have. If you have any coin that looks like the coins I show in my videos, tell me about it in the comments because your discovery could make for a very interesting discussion. And if you enjoy videos about rare United States coins, state quarters, Washington quarters, mint errors, valuable varieties, coin history, and surprising collector discoveries, make sure you subscribe to U.S. Rare Coins News. Turn on the notification bell so you do not miss the next video. There are still countless coins sitting inside collections, drawers, jars, albums, and pocket change, and every one of them has a story. The key is knowing what to look for. So the next time you receive a quarter, do not immediately toss it into your change jar. Turn it over. Check the date. Check the mint mark. Look at the design. Study the condition. You never know what might be hiding in plain sight. The 2000 Virginia state quarter may look like an ordinary 25-cent coin, but its history, design, collecting significance, and the possibility of unusual individual examples make it a coin worth examining carefully. Keep searching, keep learning, and keep your eyes open, because your next interesting coin discovery could be sitting right in your collection. Top 3. What if one of the most ordinary looking coins in your pocket could turn out to be one of the most interesting pieces in your collection? A quarter dated 2007 may not immediately grab your attention, but when you see the word Montana on the reverse and the small P mint mark on the obverse, you are looking at a coin that represents one of the most beautiful and historically significant states in America. The 2007 P Montana state quarter is part of the famous 50 state quarters program, and today we are going to take a detailed look at its specifications, composition, design, history, mint mark, condition, possible varieties and errors, collecting interest, and the extraordinary value figure connected with exceptional coin claims. So if you have one of these quarters sitting in a jar, album, drawer, or collection, keep watching and take a close look at your coin before you decide what it is worth. Let us begin with the basic information every collector should know. The 2007 P Montana state quarter has a standard weight of 5.67 grams, a diameter of approximately 24.26 millimeters, and a thickness of approximately 1.75 millimeters. The coin has a reeded edge and is made from copper nickel-clad material, with a copper core between the outer clad layers. Its face value is 25 cents, but as every experienced collector knows, the face value of a coin is not always the same as its collector value. The small P mint mark identifies this particular example as a Philadelphia minted quarter. When you are checking your own coin, the first things to confirm are the date, the state design, and that P mint mark. Now turn the coin over and look carefully at the reverse. The Montana state quarter features a magnificent image of a bison in the foreground, with the dramatic Montana landscape behind it. The design captures the rugged character of the state and gives this small quarter a strong connection to the American West. You can also see the inscriptions Montana, 1889, and 2007. The year 1889 is especially significant because it represents the year Montana became a state. The 2007 date identifies the year this particular state quarter was released. So even though this coin is only about an inch across, it carries an important part of Montana's history directly into everyday American commerce. Now flip the coin back to the front, and you will see the familiar portrait of George Washington. Around the portrait are the inscriptions United States of America, Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust, and $quarter. Near Washington's neck area is the small P mint mark. That letter is important because it tells us where the coin was struck. But remember, the presence of a P mint mark by itself does not make a coin rare. Many Philadelphia minted quarters are common, and the real question is whether your particular example has an unusual variety, a genuine mint error, exceptional preservation, or another characteristic that makes it desirable to collectors. The Montana quarter was part of the United States Mint's 50-state quarters program, which created an enormous wave of interest in coin collecting. During the program, every state received a specially designed quarter, and millions of Americans began searching through their pocket change for new designs. People bought collecting albums, searched rolls of quarters, saved examples from different years, and tried to complete all 50 states. The program introduced an entire generation to the hobby of coin collecting, and the Montana quarter became one of the pieces representing the American West in that remarkable series. But now comes the question that many people ask when they discover an older state quarter: is the 2007 P Montana quarter actually worth big money? The answer depends entirely on the individual coin. Most ordinary circulated examples are not automatically worth thousands of dollars simply because they are from 2007 or carry a P mint mark. However, certain coins can attract much greater attention when they have a genuine minting error, recognized variety, exceptional grade, or another unusual characteristic that can be verified. That is why you should never judge your coin only by its date and mint mark. If you have a 2007 P Montana quarter, the first thing you should do is examine the date carefully. Make sure the coin really is dated 2007. Next, locate the P mint mark on the obverse. After confirming those details, begin examining the surfaces. Look closely at Washington's portrait, the lettering, the rim, and the date. Then turn the coin over and inspect the bison and Montana landscape. Study the lettering around the reverse, the year 1889, the date 2007, and the overall shape of the rim. Take your time because rushing through an inspection can cause you to miss something important. Good lighting can make a huge difference when examining a coin. Hold the quarter under a bright light and slowly tilt it from different angles. Look for unusual features that appear consistently rather than simply being reflections. A magnifying glass can also help you examine small areas around the lettering and design. However, do not automatically assume that every strange line, mark, or spot is a mint error. Coins can become scratched, dented, stained, or damaged after leaving the mint, and those forms of damage are very different from errors created during the manufacturing process. This is one of the most important lessons for new collectors: damage is not automatically an error. Imagine you find a line crossing the bison. It might look exciting at first, but if that line is simply a scratch caused by another coin or object, it does not make the quarter a rare mint error. The same applies to dents, gouges, discoloration, and many other post-mint marks. A genuine error must have a logical connection to the coin's production process. When something looks truly unusual, compare it with known examples and, if necessary, have it examined by someone with numismatic expertise. Condition is another major factor that can influence collector interest. A circulated 2007 P Montana quarter may show scratches, worn details, and marks from years of use. Another example from the same year and mint could have much sharper details and very clean surfaces. These two coins may look similar at first glance, but their grades and collector appeal can be very different. Coins that have survived in exceptional condition can be much more interesting to collectors, especially when their surfaces, lettering, and design details remain sharp and attractive. If your Montana quarter looks unusually clean or well preserved, do not polish it. This is extremely important. Many people think that cleaning an old coin will make it more valuable, but professional collectors generally prefer coins with their original surfaces. Abrasive cleaning can create scratches and unnatural-looking surfaces that may reduce collector appeal. If you think you have an important specimen, hold it carefully by the edges and keep it protected while you investigate its characteristics. The P mint mark also gives us an interesting connection to the history of American coin production. Philadelphia has a long and important place in United States mint history, and coins produced there are often identified by the absence or presence of specific mint mark conventions depending on the era. For this Montana state quarter, the P clearly identifies Philadelphia production. But again, the mint mark is only one piece of the puzzle. A knowledgeable collector looks at the entire coin rather than relying on one letter to determine value. The Montana design itself makes this quarter particularly enjoyable to collect. State quarters were designed to tell stories through images, and Montana's reverse does exactly that. The bison represents the state's western character and natural heritage, while the landscape behind it creates a visual connection to Montana's wide open spaces. The 1889 date reminds us of statehood, while the 2007 date connects the design to the modern state quarters collecting era. This combination gives the coin both historical and modern collecting significance. Think about how many Montana quarters could have passed through American hands since 2007. One could have been used to buy a snack, another could have been placed into a cash register, and another could have remained untouched in a collection. Some may have been lost for years inside drawers or jars. Others may have been saved immediately because someone was collecting the entire state quarter series. This is part of what makes searching old change so exciting. You never know where a particular coin has been or what condition it may have survived in. Another thing to remember is that a coin's value is determined by the actual market, not simply by an exciting number printed in an online headline. If you see a very high price associated with a Montana quarter, investigate exactly what coin that price refers to. Was it a normal circulated coin? Was it a certified high-grade specimen? Was there a major mint error? Was it a unique variety? Was the price from an actual documented sale or simply an asking price? These questions are extremely important because an asking price is not necessarily the same thing as a completed sale. For the purposes of this video, the extraordinary price figure we are highlighting is $184,000. This should be understood as an exceptional headline figure rather than the guaranteed value of every 2007 P Montana state quarter. A normal circulated example should not automatically be considered worth this amount. Extraordinary valuations require extraordinary evidence, including authentication, condition, a legitimate error or variety when applicable, and reliable market documentation. So if you own this quarter, inspect your actual coin carefully instead of assuming that every example has the same value. Now imagine that you find a 2007 P Montana quarter that looks completely different from the examples you normally see. Maybe the design appears unusually doubled, perhaps there is a major striking problem, or maybe some part of the coin looks dramatically different. What should you do? First, stay calm. Do not clean it, scratch it, polish it, or try to modify the coin. Take clear photographs of both sides and close-up photographs of the unusual area. Compare it with a normal Montana quarter and research the characteristic carefully. If the feature appears significant, professional authentication can help determine whether it is actually a mint error or simply damage. You should also examine the rim. The rim can sometimes provide useful information about how a coin was struck or whether it has experienced damage after leaving the mint. Look for anything that appears genuinely unusual in shape or formation. But once again, do not mistake a damaged rim for an error. Coins can be hit, dropped, squeezed, or damaged during circulation. The goal is not to find something that merely looks strange, the goal is to identify something that can be explained as a genuine minting characteristic. The same careful approach should be used when looking at the lettering. Examine the words Montana, United States of America, Liberty, and the other inscriptions. Check whether letters appear normal and properly formed. Look at the numbers in the dates as well. If something appears doubled or distorted, compare it with reliable references before deciding that it is a valuable variety. Small irregularities can sometimes be caused by lighting, wear, or damage, so confirmation is always important. The Montana quarter also reminds us why coin collecting can be such a rewarding hobby. You do not necessarily need to begin with expensive coins. You can start with the coins already around you. Learn the designs, learn the mint marks, understand the dates, and gradually become familiar with common errors and varieties. The more you examine coins, the easier it becomes to recognize when something genuinely unusual appears. Knowledge is one of the most valuable tools a collector can have. And if you have a complete state quarters collection, the Montana quarter is an important piece to include. Some collectors prefer circulated examples because they enjoy the history of coins that actually travel through everyday commerce. Others prefer uncirculated or certified examples with strong surfaces and sharp details. There is no single way to enjoy the series. The important thing is learning about the coins and preserving the pieces that have meaning to you. So before you spend your next 2007 P Montana quarter, take a few seconds to inspect it. Check the date. Find the P mint mark. Look carefully at Washington's portrait. Examine the lettering and rim. Then flip it over and study the bison and Montana landscape. Look at the dates 1889 and 2007. Compare your coin with a normal example. If everything looks normal, you still have a fascinating piece of modern American coin history. But if you discover a characteristic that genuinely appears unusual, that is when you should investigate further. Now I want to hear from you. Do you have a 2007 P Montana state quarter in your collection? Did you find yours in pocket change, an old coin jar, a bank roll, or a family collection? Have you noticed anything unusual on your coin, such as strange lettering, doubling, a striking problem, or another feature you cannot explain? Give me a reply in the comments and tell me about your coin. If you have any coin that looks like the coins I show in my videos, let me know in the comments because I would love to hear about your discovery. And if you enjoy United States rare coins, state quarters, Washington quarters, mint errors, valuable varieties, coin values, and fascinating coin history, make sure you subscribe to U.S. Rare Coins News. Turn on notifications so you do not miss the next video. Every coin has a story, and sometimes the most interesting stories are hiding inside coins that people have been carrying around for years without realizing what they are holding. So the next time you receive a quarter, do not immediately throw it into a jar or spend it without looking. Turn it over. Check the year. Check the mint mark. Study the design. Examine the condition. Learn what makes that particular coin different from the millions of others produced during the same period. The 2007 P Montana state quarter may look like an ordinary 25-cent piece, but its historical design, connection to the 50 state quarters program, and the possibility of exceptional individual examples make it a coin worth taking a second look at. Keep searching, keep learning, and always check your change. You never know what interesting coin might be waiting to be discovered. And the extraordinary price figure highlighted for an exceptional example in this video is $184,000. Top 4, a quarter from 2002 may look completely ordinary at first glance, but turn it over and you will find a design that tells the story of Louisiana through one of the most recognizable symbols of the state. The 2002 Louisiana state quarter is part of the famous 50 state quarters program, and if you have one sitting in your pocket change, an old coin jar, or a collection, this is the perfect time to examine it carefully. The small d mint mark, the historic reverse design, the condition of the coin, and any genuine minting characteristics can all make your individual quarter more interesting to collectors. So stay with me as we take a detailed look at the specifications, composition, design, history, mint mark, possible errors, condition, collecting interest, and the extraordinary price figure connected with an exceptional example. Let us begin with the basic specifications. The 2002 Louisiana state quarter has a standard weight of 5.67 grams, a diameter of approximately 24.26 millimeters, and a thickness of approximately 1.75 millimeters. It has a reeded edge and is made from copper nickel-clad material with a copper core. Its denomination is 25 cents, making it one of the familiar quarters that Americans have used in everyday transactions for decades. The D mint mark tells us that this particular coin was struck at the Denver Mint. These measurements are useful when checking the authenticity and basic identity of a coin, especially if you are comparing it with another quarter from the same series. Now turn the coin over, because this is where the Louisiana story really begins. The reverse features the Louisiana state emblem, the pelican, along with a trumpet and musical notes representing the state's famous musical traditions. The design also includes the outline of Louisiana and the inscriptions Louisiana, 1812, and 2002. Every element was carefully selected to represent something important about the state. The pelican connects with Louisiana's state symbolism, while the trumpet and musical notes remind us of the state's enormous influence on American music and culture. The year 1812 is another important detail on this quarter. It represents the year Louisiana became the 18th state of the United States. When you look at the 2002 date, you are seeing the year this state quarter was released, while 1812 takes you back almost 2 centuries to Louisiana's admission to the Union. That combination of dates gives this small coin a fascinating historical connection. It is not simply a piece of money, it is also a miniature timeline connecting Louisiana's early statehood with the modern era of American coin collecting. Now turn the quarter back to the obverse. You will see the familiar portrait of George Washington, along with United States of America, Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and quarter dollar. Look carefully near the lower right area of Washington's portrait and you should find the small D mint mark. That letter is an important identifying feature, but remember that the mint mark alone does not make this quarter rare. Many D mint quarters are common. What matters is the complete condition and characteristics of the individual coin in your hands. The Louisiana quarter was released as part of the United States Mint's 50-state quarters program, a program that transformed modern American coin collecting. Instead of having the same reverse design year after year, each state received a unique design. People began checking their pocket change to find states they had not collected. Children filled albums, parents saved coins, and collectors searched bank rolls for better examples. The Louisiana quarter became one of those special designs, giving collectors a small and affordable way to celebrate the state's history and culture. But now comes the question that brings many viewers to these videos: could your 2002 Louisiana quarter be worth serious money? The answer is that you should never assume a huge value based on the date and mint mark alone. Most normal circulated examples are not automatically worth extraordinary amounts. However, individual coins can become much more interesting when they contain a genuine mint error, recognized variety, unusual striking characteristic, or exceptional condition. This is why examining the actual coin is far more important than simply knowing its year. If you have a 2002 Louisiana quarter, begin by checking the date. Make sure the final digit is clearly a 2 and that the coin matches the Louisiana reverse design. Then locate the D mint mark on the obverse. Once you have confirmed those details, examine the entire surface under good lighting. Look at Washington's portrait, the lettering, the date, and the rim. Then turn the coin over and study the pelican, trumpet, musical notes, outline of Louisiana, and the inscriptions. A careful inspection can reveal details that are easy to miss during a quick glance. One of the first things collectors should learn is the difference between a genuine mint error and ordinary damage. A quarter can become scratched or dented after leaving the mint. It can rub against other coins, get dropped, become discolored, or suffer damage from storage. Those marks may make the coin look unusual, but they do not necessarily make it valuable. A genuine mint error has to be connected to the manufacturing process. That is why an unusual coin should be compared with reliable examples before anyone makes a major claim about its value. Lighting can make your inspection much easier. Place the quarter under a bright light and slowly rotate it. Look at the surfaces from different angles. If you have a magnifying glass, use it to study the lettering and small design areas. Pay particular attention to the date, mint mark, and important features on the reverse. But remember that reflections can sometimes create the appearance of doubling or distortion, so do not make a conclusion from one viewing angle. Examine the coin carefully and consistently. The rim is another area worth checking. Look around the entire outer edge and see whether the shape appears normal. Examine the transition between the rim and the design. A major striking problem can sometimes affect the shape or appearance of a coin, but a damaged rim can also result from circulation. This is why context matters. A collector should ask not only, does this look strange, but also, could this characteristic realistically have happened during the minting process? The lettering deserves special attention as well. Look closely at Louisiana, the dates, and the inscriptions on both sides. If you notice unusual doubling, distortion, missing detail, or another feature, compare it with a normal coin. Do not immediately assume that every doubled-looking letter is a valuable variety. Some apparent doubling can be caused by lighting, wear, damage, or the way the coin is photographed. Genuine varieties and errors need proper identification and, for valuable claims, professional confirmation can be extremely useful. Condition is another major factor. Imagine two 2002 Louisiana quarters sitting side by side. One has been in circulation for years, with scratches, worn details, and numerous marks. The other has sharp design details, clean surfaces, and very little evidence of handling. Even though both coins have the same year and mint mark, collectors may value them very differently. Exceptional preservation can make a coin much more desirable, especially when combined with a confirmed variety or error. If your Louisiana quarter looks especially clean, resist the temptation to polish it. This is one of the biggest mistakes people can make with collectible coins. Cleaning can leave scratches, alter the original surface, and reduce collector appeal. A coin that looks naturally preserved is generally more desirable than one that has been aggressively cleaned. If you think you have something special, hold it by the edges and keep it protected while you investigate it further. There is also a fascinating historical story behind the design itself. Louisiana is known for its unique cultural heritage, and the quarter's reverse attempts to capture several parts of that identity in one small image. The pelican represents Louisiana's state symbolism, while the trumpet and musical notes connect directly to the state's famous musical traditions. Louisiana has played a major role in the development of American music, especially the traditions associated with New Orleans. Seeing those elements on a quarter makes the coin much more meaningful than a simple denomination. Think about what happens when a state quarter enters circulation. It can travel hundreds or even thousands of miles away from the state represented on its reverse. A Louisiana quarter could be found in another state, saved in a collection, or passed through countless transactions. This is one of the reasons the state quarters program was so successful. It turned everyday pocket change into a way of learning about all 50 states. A quarter could suddenly become a conversation starter about history, geography, culture, and collecting. The 2002 Louisiana quarter also belongs to an important period in the state quarter series. By 2002, millions of Americans were already actively searching for new state designs. Collectors were becoming more familiar with mint marks, varieties, and condition. Many people started saving multiple examples of each design so they could compare circulated and uncirculated pieces. That means your Louisiana quarter may be interesting not only because of its design, but also because of its place in one of the biggest modern collecting movements in American history. Now let's discuss the extraordinary price figure highlighted in this video. The amount is $190,000. That is an exceptionally high figure and should not be interpreted as the guaranteed value of every 2002 Louisiana state quarter. A normal circulated example should not automatically be considered worth $190,000. Such an extraordinary figure would require an exceptional and verifiable situation, such as a major authenticated error, an extremely unusual variety, exceptional condition, or documented market evidence. Always investigate the specific coin before believing a dramatic valuation. This is a very important point for anyone watching coin videos online. A price shown in a headline can refer to a particular specimen rather than every coin of the same date and mint mark. The actual value of your coin depends on its individual characteristics. Ask yourself, is the coin authentic? Is the condition exceptional? Does it have a confirmed error or variety? Has the characteristic been recognized by specialists? Has a comparable coin actually sold for the claimed amount? These questions can protect you from unrealistic expectations and help you become a smarter collector. If you believe your 2002 Louisiana quarter has a major error, do not attempt to repair or improve it yourself. Do not scratch the surface to make a feature more visible. Do not polish the coin. Do not use chemicals. Instead, take clear photographs of the obverse and reverse, then take close-ups of the unusual area. Compare your coin with a normal example and seek professional guidance if the characteristic appears significant. Preserving the coin exactly as you found it is usually the safest approach while you investigate. You can also compare the weight of your coin with the standard specification. The expected weight is 5.67 grams. If your coin appears significantly different, that could be a reason to investigate further, although a small difference on a circulated coin can result from wear or measurement differences. The diameter should be approximately 24.26 millimeters, and the thickness approximately 1.75 millimeters. These specifications can help you identify whether your coin falls within normal expectations, but measurements alone do not prove that a coin is rare or valuable. The composition is also important. This quarter is made from copper nickel-clad material rather than solid silver. That is important because some collectors mistakenly assume that every older-looking quarter contains silver. The 2002 Louisiana State Quarter is a modern-clad quarter. Its value therefore comes primarily from its collectible characteristics rather than from silver content. Understanding composition is one of the basic skills that every coin collector should develop. And this is exactly what makes coin hunting so exciting. You do not need to begin with a rare 19th century gold coin to enjoy the hobby. Sometimes you can start with a quarter you received in ordinary change. You learn what the normal coin looks like, and then you become better at noticing when something is different. Over time, your eyes become trained to recognize unusual details, and that knowledge can help you identify coins that deserve further investigation. So if you have a 2002 Louisiana State Quarter, take a moment to check it today. Look at the date. Find the D mint mark. Examine George Washington's portrait. Turn the coin over and study the pelican, trumpet, musical notes, Louisiana outline, and dates. Look at the rim. Check the surfaces. Compare the coin with another example. And remember, the goal is not to convince yourself that every unusual mark is valuable. The goal is to discover what your coin actually is. Maybe your coin will turn out to be a normal circulated quarter, and that is perfectly fine. It is still an interesting piece of American history and part of the famous state quarters collection. Maybe you will find a beautiful uncirculated example. Or perhaps you will notice a characteristic that deserves additional research. Whatever the result, the process of examining the coin is what makes collecting so enjoyable. Now I want to hear from you. Do you have a 2002 Louisiana State Quarter in your collection? Did you find it in pocket change, an old jar, a bank roll, or a family collection? Have you noticed anything unusual about the pelican, trumpet, lettering, dates, rim, or Washington side? Give me a reply in the comments and tell me about your coin. If you have any coin that looks like the coins I show in my videos, give me a reply and share the details with me. And if you enjoy United States rare coins, state quarters, Washington quarters, mint errors, coin varieties, coin values, and fascinating American coin history, make sure you subscribe to U.S. Rare Coins News. Turn on notifications so you do not miss the next video. There are still countless coins sitting inside old collections, drawers, jars, albums, and pocket change, and sometimes the most interesting discovery is the one you almost decided to spend. So the next time you receive a quarter, stop for a moment before putting it away. Check the year. Check the mint mark. Look at both sides. Study the design. Examine the condition. Learn what is normal, because understanding the normal coin is the first step toward recognizing something unusual. The 2002 Louisiana State Quarter may be a modern-clad quarter with a face value of 25 cents, but its history, cultural design, and place in the state quarters program make it a fascinating coin to examine. Keep searching, keep learning, and keep checking your change, because you never know what story the next coin might be hiding. And the extraordinary price figure highlighted in this video is $190,000.